Hey,
Good
perfect.
morning.
Yeah. Hey, thank you everybody for having me back. John, thanks for having me today. Great talk about drones, and I'll quickly jump into that. I'm just going to pull up one of your listings here, John, on Realtor here. You got a nice house here, and when you click on the iGuide itself, the iGuide is really just a way to deliver all your content. So you've got the photos, the video, the 3D tour, details about the property, and that's all tied in here. So you'll have a video with that drone, you'll have the photos, you'll have the 3D tour, you have all the the information that is in that listing. And this is all the key information. This is like a really rich media delivery of content that consumers want to see and ingest this information. What it does is it keeps people on this listing much longer, especially with the drone and engaging content, the 3D content. They can really understand and explore both the property and the house. And as you were talking about, John, you can include those beautiful drone shots so that people really understand how is that property is situated in the neighborhood, how is it on that lot, what does a lot look like, and it really gives them a good idea. Things like the backyard here, and I'll make this full screen, sorry, and we'll scroll right down to those shots. But you can see the backyard shots from up above, and this is fantastic. You can augment that with 360s on the iGuide camera system right down in the yard, so you can see from above. You can see like you're walking around the space, and it's really quite engaging. What's nice is you guys do some wonderful video work, and I know Kevin will talk about this today. We'll hit that mute. And you can just is really a way to engage people, draw them into the listing and draw them into the property. And there's multiple different ways that you can do this. You can do a longer video like this one, include that in the iGuide, and really have then a walk through the property and kind of enjoy and understand the property. If you wanted to even have a quick intro, you could I've seen quick drone intros in terms of where it's 15 seconds looking at the property and then tying back into it. So that's just a couple of great ways. So when you get the iGuide, just John mentioned how it's delivered to you is you're going to get this iGuide report. You're going to have all that information, all the information you need for your listing and for sharing on social media, to share on the MLS system. And then on the back end, you'll get analytics as well. So you can show your clients the value you're bringing to the table, how you're marketing the property, and how people are getting into the property, how much time they're spending, and who's returning as well. So, but really the key is, how do you make a really engaging experience, tie people in to that listing and get them to spend more time? And this type of content from all the search portals has really drawn in people to the actual properties, and it's been really quite engaging. Back to say in the US and Canada, all this additional content just keeps them on that listing longer, and they are more likely to reach out to the agent in regards to inquiring about the property. Another really neat, unique way that you can engage someone is right in the iGuide tour. You can actually have outdoor shots, but you could put in a 360 of a space. And this is a beautiful, large luxury home down in, I think this is in Austin, Texas. And so you can actually see it's like placed on the river. So if you really want to call out the neighborhood and kind of where some of the amenities are, you can even put in hot labels to say, hey, this is where Lake Austin is, and where the neat attractions and features are to the property, but really gives you a great understanding of what the property looks like. You can kind of explore. And what's really nice about this is I just click and I'm back. I'm like right there. I can walk right into the home. I can, now I can explore that property. I can also open up that floor plan and really kind of understand that property even better, going to the outdoor shots. And so I can see from the ground what I saw from above. And, it really just informs the consumer about that property and really understanding it in complete, get a good complete picture of that property. So that's really quite simply a lot of it, John. And I don't know if you want me to go.
That's pretty cool. Go back to the sky for a second.
Yeah. Sorry to pop on.
So this is what we've just added that's new. We'll roll out with it at scale next year. So, and the tags are now available also, Mike?
The tags are, you'll have to photo edit those in. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Those are photo edited.
You and your team would photo that in, yeah.
Yeah, And sorry, this place is in Austin. I'm just like, wow, what a place.
Yeah, yeah. Like this is because you guys usually film. Like I usually film them or call in from my basement in Toronto. And when I look at this property, if you can see the floor plan there, I'm gonna just do the little measurement on the living room here.
That's awesome.
John, that's my house. That's my house in Toronto. It fits in the living room.
Wow. Wow, that's how big this place is?
Yeah, it's massive, man. It's massive. So
You
it's
got to send me that link. That's
yeah.
awesome. Mike,
Yeah.
that's great. Kevin, can we have you back?
And I'll stop sharing here. Oh, you already did.
All right, I got you off share.
Yep.
There's the man, the myth, the
Mike.
legend. And gang, I wanted Kevin to show you a drone and how it works, but good news is we're busy and all of them are in the air today. We have three other pilots besides Kevin, so they're all flying today. The weather we're going to talk about, because today's probably right on the cusp. The snow stopped, there's no wind, and it's not quite cold enough. But I'm going to slide into a deck real quick. Kevin, you stay with me. I may ask you a few questions, and then I'll come off the deck, and I've got some questions that I want to ask you. But first, I'm going to just give a few little pieces of information for everybody to see. Oopsie, and we will go full screen. All right, take your listening to the sky. Love it. So, homes with aerial images sell 68% faster. Why? It's the home. What makes home is the neighborhood. So, a big thing for using drone photography and footage is understanding the neighborhood. So, 73% of homeowners say that they are more likely to list with a real estate agent that uses video and drone aerial photography to list their property. So again, if we capitalize on what those benefits are, which we're going to speak to, and you fully understand how to use the tool, you're going to come out ahead every time. So the main focus of using drone is to really showcase the surrounding area and community. We want to see the property. We want to see, in this case, it's a beautiful, cul-de-sac of estate homes. What's behind the home? What's beside the home? How far is, if there's a gas station on the corner. So the number one purpose of aerial video and photography, besides from a marketing point of view, to catch you really get a buzz. These guys are awesome. These drones come flying in, and then boom, it slows down and you get some really awesome angles and really, to my point, just a really different way to really absorb all of the property. And, as recently as 10 years ago, it took a helicopter and, a gentleman or a lady in the helicopter with if you watch a movie and you see them filming cameras, like they were using these big red cams before. Okay. Now you got Kevin pulls over the side of the road, throws his vest on, boom, he's up in the air, and zip, zip, zip. And, away you go. So it's like everything we talk about. The technology has really advanced. On the radio show Monday, we talked about people really started hearing about drones, crazy enough. But at the turn of the century, which sounds wild to say, but that was 20 years ago now, when the Afghan war started. Today, we're using drones for things like security. We're using drones for things like putting food in remote places where you can't get to certain times of the year. And we're using drones for auditing purposes and marketing purposes like never before. So segueing into, what's, and I'm going to just get off of this because we're going to get me and Kevin here. Sorry, guys. Where's this? Oh, sorry, guys. There we go. It was on the wrong screen. So all these awesome reasons to use a drone, but what's really important and why we have Kevin here today is to talk about why we need to have an advanced pilot. So last year in June, the Transport Canada, along with the similar association, the FAA, I guess, in the United States, passed legislation that said you needed to fly and report with NAV Canada. Kevin is going to give you that whole process. You also had any object flying over 249 grams. So think about 249 grams, like my smartphone. You must be licensed for. And they changed how and where you can fly, how high you can fly, and think about why. A lot of it has to do with privacy. And then, of course, just airspace. Who knows what's going on up there, more and more of these things. And now, Michael talked about the drone at Toys R Us, and that's like flying a kite in the park. Some of the technology we use, some of these drones we're using that you can go buy at Future Shop for $3,000 or $4,000. You can pop up in the air and see you later, 5 clicks down the road at 50 miles an hour, and you can do and capture a lot of really cool stuff. So we talked about the benefits of using a drone, and especially specifically in real estate, really allows you to showcase land, property, community, neighborhood. Kevin's going to give us a little bit of an idea now of the process of getting a license, what he needs to do when a shoot comes in, what he needs to do on a shoot, and he'll give you a little bit of an idea of how it all kind of goes down. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some other questions specifically that came in. So Kevin, if you want to just
Yes.
take it away.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. So I've been flying drones for about 2 years now, and it's 100% necessary to be licensed in this space when it comes to real estate. You don't want to just, get your friend who has like a random drone to come and fly. It's not going to work out well. I'll give you guys a quick scenario as to how it goes for prosecutions. If you remember, we won the championship, Toronto Raptors. And one gentleman actually had his drone and chose to fly over, a big party that was happening. And, there was firecrackers going off and all kind of craziness happening. He was just flying his drone over everybody. He got charged about $3,000. And when we actually went to school, which I'm going to talk about in a second, they told us in school that he actually got a really small slap on the wrist because they had to make an example of him to show everyone, hey, we're serious. So the first infraction.
Sorry to interrupt you. Kevin's talking about flight school. Every time we there's a whole process, and Kevin will tell you about that. So Kevin and Mike and our team, they was just in school. So
yeah, we were just in school. So getting your license is it's just like getting your license for driving. There's obviously 2 levels. So there's basic and then there's advanced. So the basic is just a general test of just knowledge about clouds and the weather types and things of that nature, and then you can get your basic. And basic is what it is. It's basic. You can't fly over people. You can't fly in certain in controlled airspaces. And there's a lot of other restrictions. So if you have your basic, you can only really just like fly
a kite,
show your house. Yeah, just
fly a kite, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean, and maybe look at your shingles or and that's it. Right. And then if you live in Toronto, you cannot fly at all. Yeah. Right. So it's only in a specific area.
Rural. Basic would be for rural, Kevin.
Yeah.
Rural. Yeah. So and that's important because we service the entire GTHA. So if you're in Collingwood or if you're in Port Perry, you have way different restrictions than if you're in Scarborough or Mississauga. Toronto proper, like Kevin said, especially downtown core, whole different story. So there is, like everything, a little bit of gray, but generally speaking, if you're in a populous urban center,
so then continuing on, so that's your basic. Now your advanced is very difficult. You have to be, it's a lot of reading. And so again, you have to do another written, which is again, very, very, very technical. I think I can fly a helicopter now after taking this test. So if you need me, give me a call. And then after that, then we actually do a practical where we go and we take a course. And, we have to actually do like the physical flying. So we go and the guy says, okay, stand where you are and go northwest, fly this way. So if I'm backwards, I still have to orient the drone in that direction properly. He goes through different scenarios. Hey, what if you lose connection? What do you do? What if the wind picks up? What if the drone starts to dip? All these different questions and scenarios to really test you to see if you can handle it in the actual field. And then once you're successful, you're all good. You got it. You're there all the way. And you're gonna say something, Johnny?
Yeah. So when you pass, it segues into my next question. And you mentioned early with Toronto. So a lot of people, specifically, where a drone. So give us an example of a place where you just wouldn't be able to fly a drone. Even now, I know there's issues where we've applied, and you'll get a permit that says you can fly here at this specific time.
Yeah. So especially when it comes to applying for permission, you got to request permission with NAV Canada, and they give you, in school, they show you exactly what to do. So anytime that I'm flying in a place like even in Vaughan, in Toronto, you have to be licensed.
Which every
Um,
order that comes in, they know we're flying when we're flying. So we're full, I always talk about industry, right? So it's like I talk about the iGuide Tech. It's one of those things where if you're not doing it or using it, it doesn't matter who's doing it for you. So just to really give you some context, the reason we really wanted to talk today about drones is we get a lot of questions and a lot of people talk about how and why and the cost, and when they're told no, they don't like it. So essentially what Kevin's saying is every shoot that comes in, we type it, we pop up the website, type in the address, and then it spits out some information.
Yep. And then when we go with that, then we have to contact Nav Canada. Nav Canada pretty much controls the air. So in any space where there's planes coming in and out, the towers, we have to tell them where we're flying, what day, longitude, latitude, intersection, and then we say, hey, I want to fly at this day at this time between here and here. What is the job? And then they ask you in the questionnaire, like, okay, what if you lose connection? They go through those things.
They're just making sure that you know what you're doing. But
so we get the permission back, and we need. That's why whenever real estate agents contact us, we need a week or so, sometimes even more, to contact Nav Canada.
Depends where it is.
Depending on where it is, right? And then they give us a reply, and then we can set it up, right? And then when we get set to fly and we have our permission, we always make sure wherever we're flying that we have the contact information of the airspace. So if I'm in Stouffville, I have the contact information of whatever airport is there. Even, you might think, oh, there's no planes around me, I could fly. Not necessarily. If you're near a hospital, you have a helipad.
You never know. And if you lose the drone, somebody needs to know, hey, there's this drone flying around, right?
If worse comes to worse and the drone starts to fly away, I have to call the nearest airspace. I know, first I say bye, and then I call the nearest airspace and tell them what direction was it going in, where's the last place that I saw it, where did it show last on my map, because I have it, we have devices that show us, exactly where we're flying. Obviously, we have our camera. And so now we can segue to, what I do when I get to, the shoot. So there's a lot of things that I bring with me. I bring pylons to kind of set off. I have a landing and takeoff mat that I have to set up in a secluded area, away from people, away from, anybody close.
Like flying a helicopter.
Yeah, I have my vest and it says, official drone pilot. So, I look extra cool with it on. And
extra professional.
That too, right? Professional first, style later, but it looks really good. And then also, we have that. And, I have my paperwork showing my license. Anybody flying, we have our license on us at all times.
Yeah, like a car, like you said at the beginning. And that's what people have to understand. Like, so it's not, I can't go to Toys R Us or Best Buy. I can't go to Best Buy, flip the bill for the 3Gs, and then just go start shooting my own real estate videos.
Yeah. So even what John was saying, the 249-gram drone, you might think you can get away with a lot. You can't. There's so many restrictions and so many caveats. It honestly,
basically,
I want to buy a drone.
So you can look at your shingles in 4K.
Yeah.
so Kevin, another question that we get asked a ton, and it's funny because you don't say that people don't believe you. I get disappointment. People get disappointed. But let's talk about the weather and when we can and when we cannot fly a drone.
Okay.
I know that there's a few different things that come into play.
Yeah. If it rains, it's not happening. That's number one. Yeah. But there's levels to rain. So rain, of course. If it's a small drizzle, possibly. And then another big thing that a lot of people are very shocked when I say I'm not flying today is wind. A good gauge, because we all have an app as well that tells us once we put in our address, it'll tell us how high. If I go 50 meters, the wind is going to change to this level.
Yeah.
We can see, if I can see the wind, if the wind's moving the trees vigorously, I'm not flying.
No flying.
I have a drone and I have my app, and the app is called UAV, and it gives me a great breakdown as to, the precipitation. It tells me, by hour breakdowns of, at 12.
So what's the threshold? 10, 20 kilometer an hour winds? Like what's too windy?
Or for our drones that we have, we would say at about 30 kilometers.
Yeah, we have good, and we're using very good equipment. So there you go. So it's like a plane. They say a plane can fly in the storms, but they don't. So like when we get to 15, 20, I'm telling the guys like, hey, you know what? That's kind of the line. And what about, Kevin, what about temperature? I know the heat doesn't matter, but I know the cold is an issue.
Yeah. So anything over -10, -15,
Under.
it's yeah, or under, yeah, anything under -10, -15, it's not something you want to try out with.
So basically, January, February, we're not flying drones. Essentially, we never, unless you get that January day where all of a sudden the snow's melting and the phone's ringing like crazy.
Yeah,
it's some beautiful action in the snow too, right?
Very
Going
much
back to the content side of thing, like you really, we flew. Remember, last year we had a crazy snowstorm and we flew the drone up by Canada's Wonderland and we got some pretty cool content.
That was nice. Even when we did a shoot and we were at the Forks of Credit, and if you know the Forks of Credit, where they have that road, and all the trees were changing colors, and then I'm flying, and out of nowhere, an eagle just flies right under.
Yeah,
me.
see, like
you can't fake it. You can't ask for anything.
It's like we're scripted, and I promise you, we're not. We're really not. Kevin and I do this all kinds, and we just talk. But the next question that we get asked a lot is the quality. So that video you're specifically talking about wasn't for real estate. It was for our client Ferrari of Ontario, and we were covering the rally and like the hawk going through. So the quality of the video, again, a lot of people are like, so can you tell us the quality that comes out of the video?
Yeah, we're all 4K 60 is the best way to put it.
What's 60? What does that mean, Kevin?
So 60 frames. So when you're talking about frame rates, the faster frames you have, the more information is coming. So when we view things as people, we view it at 30 frames per second, right? So there's that natural blur in our eyes. The more frames you have is the more detail you have in it. So when we shoot things at 60 frames per second and then we slow it down, all that detail is captured in it. So then when you view it, it just looks that much more spectacular.
And then, of course, one thing we can't not forget too is after you shoot the content, there's a whole process of editing. But that we're not here to talk about the art form, but essentially, the drone flies for about 20 minutes, but it may take a few hours after that to create the magic. Generally it's part of another piece of content. So just to kind of recap a couple things, and then I do have a few more questions, and we still got about 11 minutes, so we're still on track, and I'll stay on track. Again, thanks for being here. We have anybody that joined us late. Kevin Gordon-Thomas is one of our senior members of the real estate team with Realtors, and he's an advanced drone pilot. And to all you watching on Facebook, most of you might know Kevin. For those of you that don't, there's Kevin. So we talked about weather. That's a big one. So after 15, 20 clicks, weather, temperature-wise, -5, -10. So when you're planning your marketing, when you're planning your listings, it's, as much as we want to use the drones and we actually implore it where it makes sense, especially, it doesn't make sense everywhere. January, February, quality of the content, we're shooting 4K 60 frames. Like Kevin said, we can just do a lot more with the content. And generally speaking, these videos are part of the walkthrough and everything else that kind of goes with it. So the most important thing to really kind of take away with you today is the importance of having somebody that's licensed. It doesn't matter if the best videographer in the world knows how to fly a drone and creates killer, just banger after banger on the content side. What matters is, you're liable to your client. You're liable, as are we. So, we're very, very tight with the rules. We don't really bend them. So, Kevin, if there's anything else you think you want to touch on or let the people know with respect to some of the fun stuff you can do for drone, or just any tips and tricks where and why they should use them?
Yeah. Honestly, the best way to show the house and the area, you have to go with the drone. So many times, I'll go to certain areas and I'm driving around and I'm just doing a video and I'm like, wow, this would look really nice with a drone, It's a way to take your listing to the next level, especially even looking at the iGuide version of it when it comes to, using that for your portal. that's super cool. You know, like that area where
that new stuff that's come is awesome. Yeah.
yeah, it's really, really, really dope. And we're, you know, I've seen it done and it looks really, really cool. So these are the things that you can use. Cause I remember John last week, even if you join us, he was talking about how, you know, video has taken things to the next level where, you know, the saying was before a picture is what, 1,000 words.
So
Now
a
you can
video
see
must be 10,000 words, right?
a 100 million, you know,
Yeah.
and I came from the video world and understanding. I always was, you know, a big advocate of, yeah, pictures are cool, but you know, video, I could see more. You know, you can keep a picture on your mantle, but that video will keep playing back and back. So what I have to say, drones, there's nothing else really like it, especially when you have the right
It's just
operator, the
cool.
right
I
team.
think like it's how we talk about the 3D, the like the eye guide, like it's that advanced. And again, you're 20 minutes in the air, a couple hours editing. Like it's not, you're not in a helicopter with 3 people spending $10,000 anymore. You're literally now spending it's hundreds of dollars instead of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And our turnaround time, Kevin mentioned sometimes it can be upwards of a week. Just to clarify, you're flying by the down at the lake or West Toronto, you might need a little bit more leeway because like Kevin said, a lot of it has to do with air traffic. When these guys, he didn't embellish. He didn't even, I tried to fill out this basic course and I got 20% or something like that. These guys need to know stuff like frequency codes and whatnot. So when you're trying to plan ahead, if you can really just think, you know, where your listing is will be really indicative of what the requirements will be. So if you're flying, you know, downtown or by the airport, like Kevin said, we are likely going to need a week's notice and we're going to have to apply and they're going to say to us, okay, this is when you can fly on that day.
Yep. And even
so as the flight path changes, like Kevin said, that all the traffic above, you know, the house is controlled airspace.
Yeah. And even, you know, if I've flown right next to Pearson and they cap you, you know, I said, I want to go this high. They say, no, you need to go this high. Right. So, but even just to show you as to where we can fly, I always say, I've flown about 100 meters from the CN Tower and I was very, very, very fun.
That was some cool content too. So,
you know, so that was a very, very fun shoot. You know, I was on a rooftop of a building and I had all the permission, everything there, my license, they were questioning me and I had everything there for them. Right. And I flew on top and it was a really nice shoot. And even, you know, when we go to rural areas, it's something to see, something to show, and definitely will bring more traffic.
Content that works. So yeah, we can just kind of leave it with that to just kind of close off on the fun side of it. Now you have a little bit of an understanding of the legalities that go with it, but it's like Kevin said, you know, and we all know because we all see it, like what you can see from you know, 5, 10, 20 stories up looking down, and then think about after the property. So I always implore you to consider repurposing your content. Don't just look at the house as just a listing and it's over when it's sold. Maybe try to understand your content as a commodity, and you can reuse it and repurpose it for other things and attract more people to your brand. So just another really awesome tool to win more listings. So Kevin, Mike, are you there still? I'm not sure if he left or what, but oh, he's there. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what a wild ride it's been. The first Monday in April. So March 20th, we were kind of all sent home. We were set up. Thankfully, we're in the space. We were set up. We had an event that we couldn't do. So I said, you know, Lucas and I, let's go. We'll go live. And we went live and people were there. And then next thing you know, a couple weeks later, Michael and I are talking to 100 people at a time. So here we are, 9 months and I think 30 webinar sessions later. You guys are all amazing. For everybody that's tuned in now, anybody that watches this later, we are very grateful for all of you. We'll be back on January 15th talking about how to get ready to win more listings. Hopefully by then, we're a lot deeper through and almost on our way out of this pandemic. In the meantime, thank you, Michael, so much for all your help all year, and I look forward to having you back on January 15th. Kevin, thanks for being here today and educating us on why we need to be responsible when we fly. And I hope all of you have a fantastic holiday season. Stay safe and healthy, and let's kick ass in 2021.
Yeah.
Have a great
Kevin,
week.
that was great. John, thanks for having me be a part of this.
Oh, and a big shout out to the face you never see, Lucas. He's there. He's always there, making us look good. So Lucas, thanks for all the hard work. And yeah, January 15th, let's get that deck ready, kid. Cheers.